weird feeling.
The cabin starts to shake, right? And the left side blows up, and then the whole plane just explodes. The plane's gonna explode! It's not a joke! It's not a joke!
We get thrown off the plane all because Brownie has a bad dream?
I saw it.
The plane! It's gonna blow up! It's gonna blow up!
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast That Wouldn't Die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, Aaron.
Hello.
So, we are a podcast, but we're also a YouTube show. So there could be a simulcast going on here.
Is this a
For
tube
goodness
cast?
sake. You're telling me. This week on the podcast That Wouldn't Die, we are discussing the horror classic Final Destination, starring Devon Sawa and Ali Larter, and Tony Todd is in this ever so briefly. Good times. Each week on the podcast That Wouldn't Die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genre with a comedic twist. Aaron, how are you doing?
Dude, I forgot that Tony Todd was in this, and he is bang. He is bang. You look at this and you think, why the wasn't he working more?
Right.
Because he was solid. I mean, he didn't have to be a monster. Good looking guy, solid actor. What the hell?
I agree. No question. No question. But what's going on with you in your personal life?
My personal life. Oh, dear. I decided to skip town, go see Depeche Mode, and fly to Italy like for spring break.
How was the mode, by the way?
The mode was pretty goddamn awesome. So much so, I have tickets to see them in December when they slide by again. This time, I'm going to be at the Crypto Arena in nosebleeds. But beautiful. I was on the floor, like the second section, rocking and rolling.
Now, we've talked about this before. Depeche Mode, not gay.
Not gay. Surprising, isn't it?
Yes. So
I mean, Vince Clarke, baby, when he was in Depeche Mode, perhaps gay. But Martin and Dave, as far as I know, I was like, what? Pictures of them with their esposas and their kiddos, and
yes,
like, really?
Yeah.
What are the two groups? Usually, guy groups. I know all their personal biz because I'm desperately in love with them. But Depeche Mode, I just like their Depeche-ing.
They got some good Depeche-ing. Ain't no lie. And then you went to Italy, right?
And literally the next day, I went to Italy. No, Firenze. And
not
so
Vatican
now,
City?
Not that I've been to the Vatican City. You know, it was just supposed to be a week of lollygagging, drinking spritz, eating pasta, chilling like a vill. Nothing exciting. All I can tell you is Italian men are very attractive. That literally, let's compare baggage handlers in Italy versus the freaks I see at LAX. No. The baggage handlers in Italy, all of their effing models, they're coiffed, they look beautiful. LAX, everybody's half a hobo. Do I give you a dime, or are you just putting my bags in the car? I don't know.
Okay, Danny DeVito, Joe Pesci, they weren't handling your bags? What you're saying? Those Italian models, though you speak.
They've been contaminated by America. I'm just telling you.
That's possible. These
dudes had beautiful, thick, wavy hair with a perfectly manicured beard, with like clearly they've had their uniform tailored. That kind of situation.
That's how they do it. Ain't no lie.
That's how they do it. I should have just started throwing business cards out the window.
Just making it rain with your business cards?
Call me a wink and a nod. A wink and a
Johnny
nod.
Appleseed, sprinkle, sprinkle.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Aaron,
and yet, return single again. Womp womp.
It's a sad situation. Give us your 30-second synopsis of Final Destination, if you please.
Final Destination. High school trip. I felt sorry for the chaperones. Visions, planes crashing. You can't trick death, as we learned in Depeche Mode. Memento Mori. everyone dies. Fate's gonna get theirs. The end. See, it all comes back to Depeche Mode. Let me just put that out there.
It does. No, it always comes back around. People are people, after all.
The circle of life. They did not cover that, by the way.
Now, had you seen this movie?
Have I
before?
seen Depeche Mode before? Yes, I did. I
Recently.
got 10th row seats at the San Jose Arena for Songs of Faith and Devotion, which was by far the best concert I ever saw in my whole life. Thanks for asking.
I did. Well, psychically I asked, I'm sure, is what happened. Have you ever seen
Final
Good
Destination,
Lord.
Believe It or Else, at the movies when it first came out?
Really? I think I might have as well, honestly. I saw the first one. I didn't see any of the other ones. Did you see any of the other ones? Because there's been 15
No, because
sequels.
the first one's great, and you know when they're just going to start cranking it out and ruining it.
Fair enough. And this was
somebody call in if I'm wrong, and like Final Destination 8 was somehow better than Final Destination 1. I'll watch it. You just let me know.
I will say that the opening scene, the disaster scene of Final Destination 2, is on that list that we talked about, the greatest movie moments or whatever, where it's like a total debacle of a car crash with like logs crashing across the. Go on YouTube. I haven't seen the rest of the movie. I've only seen the opening scene of Final Destination 2, and it is quite interesting, to say the least.
All right. Haven't seen it. Maybe you want to recommend it, but I will tell you the disaster scene in Final Destination 1 is one of the most chilling depictions of a plane crash. It is way too realistic. It is way too realistic, and you're like, I remember watching that and calling our sister Tara and said, don't go see this movie.
Yes, our sister Tara is afraid of flying just anyway. Yes.
Yeah, I said you'll never get on a plane.
She has to like be hit with one of those darts in the back of the neck to go on the,
tranquilized like a rogue gorilla, bound, and then wrapped into a burrito with weighted blankets, and then stuffed in steerage.
They have to drag her on like Hannibal Lecter, tied to some kind of gurney. Exactly. It's very upsetting.
Exactly. She's signing up for the transporter. She's the first.
Do you have in the trunk? Do you have fear of flying at all? I find that I don't really.
I think I'm going to die every time I get on a plane, but it's not overwhelming. I just get this thought in my head. And then when I hit a lot of turbulence, I'm like,
that was it?
That's it.
We're gone.
I was on one of my flights to San Francisco. First of all, they had to de-ice the wings.
Mm-hmm.
First of all,
always a bad sign.
I'm in goddamn Bakersfield. I'm not in Chicago. De-icing the plane. I'm for sure we're going down. It was one of those things where it's the side-by-side flips and dropping. Where like every 2 minutes, I'm like being cool. I didn't cry. I was getting a little nauseous. But every time it would fling me, I'd have the arm that goes out to grab the seat in front of me with the white knuckles. And then I'd put it down. So when that happened, like that, I hate it. When I got on my flight to go to Italy, I was like, I'm getting too old for these fucking 12-hour flights. But then once you get there, you're like, la-di-da. Survive.
Let me ask this. You do a lot of international flying. Here's my question to you. Do you recline your seat?
I absolutely recline my seat. But I try to be cool. When I used to fly coach, I try to be cool.
But what does that mean? What does being cool mean?
Not recline it all the way. It really depends on the airline. Because I have been in ones where the entertainment and the food tray are on the seat in front of you, right? So when you recline, not only is it difficult for them to watch the movie or eat, no one can also get out. I have literally watched a girl on the window seat, and this is a 3-row, stand up in her seat and walk across the armrests to get out to go to the bathroom. Because it's jungle time in economy. It's not the
Yeah, it's
people's
true.
fault. You treat people like animals, they become animals. They become how you treat them.
Absolutely.
Because I will tell you, there's more leg room in these short flights than there is in international. Because they want to squeeze the last drop of blood. So often when I fly to Europe, there's a long flight, there's like an 11-hour flight, followed by like a 2 or 3 hour flight. The 2 or 3 hour flight, I don't have to book extra leg room because there's plenty of leg room. Like when even domestically, like when I fly to San Francisco, 45-minute flight, I can sit in the window, I can cross my legs. International, it is like 3 inches beyond the seat because they want you to upgrade. They want you to spend another $800 to $1,000 to at least go to premium economy.
Okay, look, I'm flying to Ireland. I'm reclining my seat. I'm not trying to sleep sitting straight up for 10 hours. So whoever's sitting behind me, go with God.
So here's the deal. So behind premium economy, there's like this fake up row that has extra leg room.
Yes.
But they put you in these. This is Lufthansa Airbus. Let me just tell you, you sons of bitches. Usually Lufthansa is the cream of the crop. Now they have this weird row that to go there, I paid like an extra $150 each way. And it was a metal box that was at least 3 inches narrower than the other economy seats. All right? Not only that, is now an economy on Lufthansa, the entertainment is not on the seat in front of you. It is this thing you pull up out of your armrest the size of a small tablet. Tiny.
Right. I've seen that. Yeah.
Son of a bitch. So, on the way back, I upgraded back to premium economy where I belong. Because I deserve it. But
up where we belong.
I was so furious because I used to always fly Lufthansa. It just kept getting expensive. So I was thrilled to fly Lufthansa this time. It was always better food, better service. They're on time. Those German ladies, they don't mess around. Shut up, sit down, leave these other people alone. They don't mess around.
We're 20 minutes into this podcast talking about the perils of flying.
Wolf of Wall Street, where they got the duct tape out, that was a Lufthansa flight. They're going to duct tape your ass down. You get crazy.
So why don't we jump in?
Let me just
why don't we get started on the show here? Final Destination. Let me give you guys
one more comment. I once paid $2,200 for premium economy on Air France, and I had a middle seat. And at the last minute, I went to the counter and changed to an aisle seat. They didn't tell me I just paid $2,200 for a seat that now no longer reclines.
What?
So I'm sitting here like this. I just paid $2,200 for this seat.
What? So it's a broken seat? Is that what you're telling me?
No, that whole back row didn't recline. I'm looking at everywhere around me.
There's a wall right there.
Is a wall.
Right. Anywho.
So I'm pissed at Germany and I'm pissed at France. What's next?
So this is okay. Talking about the movie now. This is a senior trip, or this is like they've graduated and they're going on a trip together, or what is this? A field trip?
Years old. They're pretending it's a high school trip, but these are clearly people, maybe a senior in college. But they're pretending it's a senior in high school. These people are too long in the tooth. This is like Grease, where they're like 45 years old, and their high school age kids are coming to see them on set.
Right, but I mean, they kind of established. You're absolutely right about that. They kind of established this is their French class is taking a field trip to Paris for a week. But it's
Let me tell you what my French club did. I'd sit in the back, try to sneak cigarettes, and read Paris Match with Madame. The best we did is I think we went to LA to see a play that had nothing to do with France.
So you did not fly to Paris?
Not with fucking Madame. Because I'll tell you another story about Madame. Madame went with a senior trip to Hawaii, and I have a lot of anger for her.
So we're all getting, clearly. Good Lord.
I will not name names. Not to
So
protect the innocent, but to shield the guilty.
I'm trying to get the plane back into the terminal here. They're about to fly, and the main character basically like has a premonition of the plane crashing.
He's been seeing little like shadows and funky things. Frankly, if it was me seeing all this shit, I think I got a stroke coming on. I'm having
no question
like the halos before a migraine. Maybe it's dementia coming on at high school. He's just rolling it off.
He's got the sweats and he's like got the tremors. We don't know what is up with this dude, but he jumps up and is like, the plane's going to crash. The plane's going to crash. And the air marshals basically push everybody who happens to be in the aisle at that moment off the plane and says, none of you guys are getting back on.
How come they don't do that on all these flights when you have all the crazy Karens? The latest one was the lady yelling at a woman with a baby. Why can't she move? Everybody knows what's going to happen when the flight takes off. That baby's going to start crying. I don't want her next to me.
No question.
That's like what people are doing.
Yes. Well, people are on there with their emotional support pelicans and things. I mean, it's a freak show. Anything goes, basically. So they shove them, whoever happens to be in the aisle, and it's like, who is it? It's the dude. It is like the bully and his girlfriend, because the bully's like, I'm gonna fight you right here in the aisle because you're saying that.
High school teachers approve who's on this list. He would never have been on this list.
Well, he seemed like a normal kid.
No, he's got a hair trigger. He's clearly been before. You take the most docile children. All this, you're taking people's children out of the country. You don't need people that are going to be making people pregnant or getting arrested in a foreign country. You're not taking Spider Joe. He was literally John Travolta from Carrie.
That is, absolutely he is. No question. So he's pushed off. His girlfriend's pushed off. The hockey player, lacrosse player, who's Stifler from the American Pie movies, he shows up late. I was stuck in the bathroom. He gets thrown off for no reason. Allie Larder with brown hair gets kicked off. Oh, sorry. You're right. She doesn't get kicked off. She just is like, if somebody jumps up and says the plane's going to crash, smartly, I am also going to leave. You know, I don't know.
I'm with you, sister. Even though you look like you're one of the chicks from The Craft, I'm going with you.
Absolutely. No question. And then his buddy. Did you notice his buddy had the weirdest like affectation the way he talked? Like he was Vinny from Doogie Howser. Where he's like, hey, what are you doing, guys? Hey, I know they're supposed to be from Long Island, but this is pushing it too far as far as I'm concerned. What was happening?
Even doing it on purpose. You know, like you always has a wacky friend who's just going to slip into these voices. I thought that's what that was. Because literally, we're finding things to criticize about this movie, but really, it's pretty solid.
There's no question. It's a fun movie. But let's
a fun movie.
Let's go to the highlights.
In your wacky old, guys have all these weirdo friends. So I just thought it was beta guy number 3.
Well, one can hope, but I don't think so.
Going on in the background because I hear tribal chanting.
There's some tribal chanting. I've chosen the night of the school cast party downstairs to record, by the way. So if you hear screams, that is my 16-year-old daughter and 30 of her closest friends. I don't know what. It's a freak show. The door is locked and
the family band, Schadenfreude, will they be performing later?
And they will be doing the greatest hits of Schadenfreude. Yes, no question. Schadenfreude is yes, they're a cross between the Partridge Family and the Hansons. And they're going to sing the Hansons. Is that a music group? Who am I thinking of?
Hanson.
Hanson is a brand. They sang Mbop. The
Yes.
Hansons are from Slapshot with Paul Newman, the hockey boy.
Are there a couple of girls down there with their front teeth missing?
It's
Is
possible.
that an affectation? I had them removed on purpose.
Basically. So, okay. Let's go to the highlights. What do you got, Aaron? You can go first.
Number one highlight is when the plane explodes. It is the nightmare that you absolutely think. The oxygen masks go down. People are grabbing for them. Fire breaks out. Things are ripping out. It is exactly what you thought. It is chilling.
People getting sucked out into space.
People are getting sucked out in space. They're probably the best ones. I don't know what's worse, getting sucked out in space or watching that fireball come right at you.
Well, ideally, you want to just like detonate and then you're just dead instantly. You don't want to be hanging on like to your chairs. You're getting slowly sucked out into space. That would be bad. That would be
bad. But the same thing, they just did the slow roll of a fireball going from the front of the plane until it engulfed our main character.
Well, he's sitting in the flames. Yes.
Oh,
that was so he had this premonition. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. People have had premonitions before, right? I mean, maybe just on those Time Life books. So and so was about to board a plane with her family, and she had a vision. So it was something like that. But they think he might be involved with the plane crash, right?
Yeah,
the FBI.
The plane's going to crash, and then it crashes. Suspicious.
Yeah.
And frankly,
was he lighting his shoe on fire? We don't know.
Oh, remember that? Because of one crazy old son of a bitch, we still got to take our shoes off.
So, one crazy son of a bitch. No question. Absolutely. I liked how sometimes it was like a kind of a Rube Goldberg kind of situation. Because after they survive, now death, the personification of death, I guess, is after them, right? So it's like the one buddy's in the bathroom and he's like, what am I going to do here? And it kind of pans around the bathroom, all the perils that could possibly befall him. He pulls out like a straight razor and he's like, maybe I'll just dry shave my face for no just this one spot. Just this one spot. Ooh, I cut myself. Oh, I guess I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm done with the shaving for the evening.
That's going to be my new
with a long hair right here for some reason. Yes, good time.
The back of the tank is dripped and the water is following him. And then when he turns, it follows him in a different direction.
That was good. But it's kind of the thing where it's like, should it be, and this is a question, should it be just kind of like accidents happen? You know what I mean? Or should it be a malevolent entity kind of chasing, you know what I mean? And covering its tracks. Because after the dude accidentally hangs himself, then the water slowly like drips back into the base of the toilet.
And you're right. Why would death need to be a Rube Goldberg? Why wouldn't it just squeeze his heart and he flops over dead?
Well,
that's the movie where they're playing chess. He has the chess match with death. The soldier.
Oh, that's the Seventh Seal with Ingmar Bergman.
Seal. Yes, you're playing a little chess match, or The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You just discuss. They've been trying to cheat death since the dawn of time.
That is true.
This is more, almost less interesting because there's no bargaining. There's not an entity that you can have a discussion with. It's just this presence who feels like it needs to kill you in a very complicated way.
Well, the first person is like totally unawares. His buddy's just like, I don't know what's coming. And at one point, so there's like a clothesline that's out over the bathtub, like you might see in a hotel. I don't know if people have that in their home, but he's got it in his home. And he slips on the water.
My last hotel had that. Maybe it was a Final Destination. In Italy, there was one. Ooh, I'm glad
that's what happens. That's what happens. But he slips in the water. His head goes down onto the clothesline, which pulls from the wall and then swings around like 5 times. And now he's being hung. He's sitting there hung. He's like, because he's in the bathtub. And I guess, I don't know, he squeezed some conditioner or something with his ass when he went over. Now he can't do anything. He can put his hands on the edge of the toilet and not hang himself, but it does not occur to him to do so. So he slowly hangs over the course of 5 minutes. Very sad. His
poor family thinks it's a case of autoerotic.
They did talk about that. They mentioned he went like in excess. No, they did not know. That was the deleted scenes. So then the next person to go is the teacher who's like, you scare the hell out of me, get away from me, essentially. And that's when it comes back to John Denver, Rocky Mountain High is the anthem of death, essentially. So it's there it is.
Oh, someone just gave me this right before we decided to do it. So now,
why does he look like Cousin Oliver in that picture, by the way? Can you answer that question?
Because we used to not say he looks like Cousin Oliver. We used to say, who's this little tiny John Denver? With the bowl cut. You used to have this haircut, my brother. This used to be you.
Yes. In 1978, before I was able to actually have agency in my life, first of all, I had hair. That's number one. Number two, I had the full bowl. This is John Denver, grown-ass man, choosing to style his hair like this, also in 1978.
Dude,
it was sweeping the nation.
Songs. I believe there's a John Denver song on the Kevin engagement mixtape. Was it Annie's song on there?
Annie's song is my wedding song.
Oh, is that your wedding song?
Yeah, absolutely it is. Now, in retrospect, not the best choice because he was divorced from Annie a few years later. So very, very sad situation.
Well, the senses, but he was filling his belly with a little bit too much of the.
You fill up my senses with the
Once he got rid of his glasses and went with the contacts, it was all downhill from there.
That was it. I do love John Denver.
Of course.
Yes.
I hear he's huge for karaoke in Japan. We need to go to Japan to do karaoke.
I don't have to go to Japan to do karaoke. I can find a place right here, baby. That's how I do it. It'll be Take Me Home Country Roads, right? Rocky Mountain High. I mean, there's Cakes on the Griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. I mean, I'm there.
Yeah. Blue Ridge Mountain, shining on river.
It's a good song. No question. I was particularly disturbed by this because he had died only a few years earlier in a plane crash. Right?
Yeah.
That seemed inappropriate.
It was inappropriate and yet amazing.
And yet, well, they could have done La Bamba. They could have done Leonard Skinner. I mean, it had to be the dude that died a couple years earlier.
It has to be. It has to be. I can't even imagine. La Bamba, if you could recast this now, you would put La Bamba in there. It's just such a strange choice because it's such an innocent song, and now it's just this harbinger of death. And then I remember sitting at the theater and thinking, poor John Denver, there's a whole generation who will only know him because of this.
I can see it raining fire in the sky.
Yes!
I mean, good grief. It's perfect.
It's
Chef's
perfect.
kiss.
It's perfect.
Chef's kiss. So I love, so the teacher.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else.
There's nothing. I stand corrected. The
you
teacher.
Can recast actors, but you cannot change this.
This is true. So she's home and she's moving out. She's like, I'm leaving town because there's too many memories. I gotta go. So she's playing John Denver, and evidently it's the extended Rocky Mountain High on repeat because it was over and over again. And again, it pans through her house. They're like, oh, there's sparks in the computer monitor. Oh, my glass is
she deserved to die. She was spilling shit all in the back of her computer.
Spilling vodka.
She was like drinking tumblers of alcohol, slopping it everywhere she went.
Yeah, it was white lightning. It was basically moonshine that she's splashing all over the place.
Out of a broken, old, jacked up coffee cup.
Well, she first filled it up with hot water for tea, and then I don't remember why, but she's like, oh my God, I can't drink this, and throws the hot water out, and then she pours in the frozen, icy vodka in, and that causes it to break because of the temperature change. But it also zooms in on like, here's the butcher knives, like just butcher block teetering on the edge of the counter. Like there's a list of like, all these horrible things that are going to occur because she looks out the window.
Which one is it going to be? Which one is it going to be?
Right. And it was all of them. And it was all of them. It was one thing after another. It was.
This is a fun movie. This is a great movie.
Yes, she spills the vodka on the monitor, which sparks and explodes, sending like shards into her neck. She's like, I'm about to die from bleeding, and then she reaches up, pulls the rag that's on the butcher block, and then of course all the knives go right into her, and then the house blows up. She wasn't getting out of there one way.
She has the knife stuck in her chest, but she's still alive. So he gets up to go help, and then the chair falls and shoves it all the way through. She was not getting out of there.
She was not getting out of there. Oh, no question. No question. So again, there are these first two deaths where it's like very elaborate, very elaborate. Then the third person just steps off the sidewalk, gets creamed by a bus. Boom.
Well, that's getting tired. There's a lot going on. Oh, but I love the just chunks of matter flying everywhere. Everybody was just coated.
Just splattered. Like she was a water balloon.
There was nothing for the funeral. They just went around with a sponge, absorbed what they could, and that went in the casket.
That was it. But that was a good moment. It was funny that it was just so abrupt, but it was shocking. It was surprising. She's just like, I'm out of here. Boom.
It totally
just goes up.
But there was no chunks of meat.
No. Well, thank goodness for that. At least, goodness gracious.
Leg or something. But that is totally. I don't know which came first, Mean Girls or this, but it was totally Mean Girls too. What came out?
Well, she wasn't. She just had her boyfriend was the bully. She was okay, other than the fact that she chooses to date the mean guy.
She steps off the curb, and you see her just getting. What came first?
Yeah. Squished like a grape. What do you got? What are some highlights you want to mention?
Question, and you don't seem to hear me.
I don't hear. What is your question?
My question is, which came first, Mean Girls or Final Destination?
Final Destination came first.
Okay, so I think Mean Girls. Yeah, I just checked. Mean Girls 2004. So I think that was perhaps an homage to Final Destination.
What was an homage to Final Destination?
When the mean girl in Mean Girls gets hit by the bus. She's over there, steps off the curb while yakety-yakking at the end and just goes, poosh.
Oh, that's entirely possible. that could be.
Down. I'm going back to the crash. So
please.
The crazy character from American Pie or whatever you said was eating...
Stifler.
Stifler was eating Whoppers, which I quite enjoy because I enjoy a malted.
They are delicious.
So part of that, when the crash is taking place, he spills it, and there's an extreme close-up of the Whoppers all moving in unison to indicate which way the plane's going. I thought that was really interesting.
It's creative directing, I would say, to say the least.
It shows you the chaos. I thought that was kind of interesting. I try to look around the background while a movie's going on, see what else is going on. I thought that was kind of cool.
Did you notice that at one point they're like, we're not even going to let the teachers back on to the plane? It's like, really? Clearly the teachers were not involved in this. They're just, whoever happened to be getting
One
up.
of you can go back? That doesn't even make any sense. And quite
Right.
frankly, the plane would have taken off while this was all going on. They got a tight schedule.
Well, I guess it was the pilot who came out and was the one who decided, okay, well, one of you teachers can go back on, but not both of you.
Not
Even though it was
TSA.
one dude having an issue and one guy trying to fight him. That's two people. We don't have to kick everybody off.
Yeah. Everybody's standing
Everybody
up
and coach, you're out of here.
now, you sons of bitches. Non-refundable.
Non-refundable.
So it reminds me of the
very funny.
Seinfeld where Jerry freaked out and the pilot kicked him off the plane.
That's what they do. No question. When he
There
came
was a
back,
lot of good signs. There were owls showing up, harbingers of death. It was just good. And then you have Candyman.
yes.
Candyman's working in the morgue.
Well,
And,
okay. We got to talk about this scene. This is hilarious. So Devon Sawa and Ali Larder are like, oh, damn, we think Death is cleaning up his mess, like fixing his mistakes. So we're going to go break into the morgue. Why? Why were they breaking into
they
the...
didn't believe their friend killed himself, so they needed to look at his bloated, cold body.
And do what? They aren't CSI.
They are now. And I like that they know right where to go. And there's also nobody there. They can just stroll right in. I'm going to go drive down to Adventist Health right now and see if where the morgue? I'm coming in.
Absolutely. And the mortician, Tony Todd, was very welcome. Come on in. Let me, you know what? I know you're here to defile a corpse for all I know, but please step right up. And of course, he's the wise old mortician who knows all about Death's plan. He's like, I've seen a lot of death in my day.
Not in scrubs, dressed in a suit.
Wearing a suit, absolutely. Do you have rubber gloves on? Who's to say? He's just rooting around in there, just handling his business. That's what they do.
Yes, it is. It's very disturbing. That's why they prefer to hire women to work down there, because they can't trust the men who actually want to work down there.
Is that so? Male morticians everywhere. We're not painting you with that broad a brush, suggesting that you're all necrophiliacs.
Not all
at least I'm
not.
not.
Not all teachers are, but if it's a thing, there are people who are going to be attracted to that thing.
Fair enough. Although Tony Todd did not mention that for being his reason for getting involved, but
pull up a chair, had a whiskey, asked him about his day.
So I mean, I guess they felt they needed to have kind of the wise old person who's like obviously knows all about Death's plan. And do they talk to somebody?
Maybe he was Death.
That's a fan theory that Tony Todd was actually Death, like
they should
passing out. But why would he help them? Why wouldn't he just kill them if he was Death? I'm glad you're here.
Did he really
hop into the crematorium? While I have you here, let me get at you with the tools. No, sweet Lord.
He helped them because in the end, a French mime is singing John Denver.
First of all, do French mimes speak? They don't just speak; they sing.
Am I wrong or am I right? Didn't he have his face all painted up like Marcel Marceau?
That's how they do it in France. Okay, it's much easier to be a French mime where you just talk in French accent, Rocky Mountain High. I was born in the middle. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of French. Okay. We're getting ahead of
Why? That's what he said. For God's sakes. I loved that when Devon Sawa runs up to discover his best friend in the world has committed suicide, he's really not that upset about it. He's just like...
He's got bigger things on his mind.
I guess take a minute and be upset for your friend's passing. The only one who wasn't turning his back on you. He was just like, yeah, bro, I miss you. I miss you too. Dad's freaking out. When he calms down, you and I can be bros again. No,
it all
dead
comes
meat.
down to this. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Well, he ain't throwing any kind of fit because he's been hung. Very upsetting.
What he gets.
Well, what did they figure out to foil Death's plan? That if they stop you when you're about to be killed by Death, if they interrupt it in some way, then
If you
you're
can
cool.
figure out what it is, how you're gonna die, then you could change it. You can't just hide from it. It's a little convoluted. It's like once you see what it is, you can maybe sidestep it, but you can't just hide from it by locking yourself.
Tony Todd says as much. Like there are signs. There's signs that if you're paying attention, you will know the signs. And he kind of figures out, Devon Sawa kind of figures out, oh, here's the order based upon where everyone was sitting on the plane that they would have died. But it was like kind of didn't make any sense because it's like he was sitting in the back, but then he changed seats. And then it's like he was sitting right next to his buddy, but his buddy's the first to go, but he's like the eighth to go, or so.
And then it made change seats. He'd agreed to change seats, but he hadn't quite gotten up yet. And then it was a little this and that.
Well, and the same thing. It's like the girlfriend gets hit by the bus, but again, sitting right next to her boyfriend who's not next for some reason. So that made no GD sense at all. The order.
It's one of these situations where it's best not to put too keen an eye on this. We're not solving cancer.
That's exactly right. If you just take his word for it, it's fine. It's fine.
Take his word for it. It's absolutely true. One thing I did pick up on is the female teacher. What's her name?
They all had names of like famous horror. Val Lewton, right? Her name was Val Lewton.
I was like, Val Lewton? I was like, what? He wrote all those old Curse of the Cat people and
right.
All those shows. So I guess that's the only one I picked up on, so I must be slow. Who are the rest of them?
And that's like literally just the full name of the the guy who wrote all that stuff back in the 40s or whatever it was. It was like we're being flagrant.
All the old classics.
Right. When we talk about the cast, we'll remember what the other names are because they're not leaping to my mind as we're sitting here. But yes, I know. I did notice that. That was interesting.
If you're someone who's into old horror movies, the name Val Lewton should pop into your mind.
He was Curse of the Cat people.
It was like was it the White Zombie? I don't know. There's a ton of them.
Right. Yeah. I'll look it up. But you're absolutely right. There were those moments, and we've watched a few movies like that. Like when we did Night of the Creeps, half the cat. There was like Raimi and Cameron and Carpenter. Like they're flagrant.
Yeah. I like that.
But that's
fun.
Good
because this is not a serious film. This isn't Sophie's Choice. So I'm going to drop in funny names of people who also write.
I beg to differ. This is Sophie's Choice. I think we can all.
Dostoevsky and.
That's exactly. You're absolutely right, Dostoevsky. What's funny is so Ali Larter. I don't know if you're familiar with her work, but in this movie, she's kind of the gothy girl because she has brown hair.
Familiar, yeah. Brown hair makes you bad.
A few years earlier, if I'm remembering this correctly, she was like the hot cheerleader in Varsity Blues because she had blonde hair.
Yeah. Do you think?
Other than that, it's the same actress delivering the same performance.
They're simple creatures.
It's sad.
Put on a wig, dye your hair, you're a whole different person.
It's a whole different. It's like She's All That, where all you have to do is take off their glasses and like, whoa, now you're a model. How'd that happen? Whoa, hang on. It's like Clark Kent, right? It's the exact same thing. Sweet Jesus!
I plucked your Unibomb, put on some lip gloss. Whoa! Hey, what you got cooking?
There was a movie called Not Another Teen Movie, which made fun of this whole thing, where it's like, here's this amazingly hot chick, but her hair's in a ponytail and she's wearing like overalls and has glasses on. And the moment they take off the glasses and the ponytail, it's like, oh damn, I didn't see this before. It's like, come on. That's how they do it.
I gotta say, as a woman, those overalls are a killer to pull off.
If you look, here's the cold hard. If you're hot, you can literally just roll out of bed. It don't matter. It's a sad situation. Anywho,
speaking of overalls, I just watched Crazy Margot Robbie in that god awful Babylon, where she is literally wearing overalls with no top underneath, but magically never a nip slip occurs.
Oh, well, then now I have to tune in. That was a movie I was going to pass by, but now that you mention it, I have been meaning to see that.
Babylon is Singing in the Rain if you want to go dark.
Oh, they're going to say if it sucked.
No, and it sucks. And they reference Singing in the Rain multiple times. It's basically that story if there were orgies at the beginning.
Again, you're kind of selling this movie. I'm not going to lie.
I literally watched it because I was on a 12-hour flight and I knew it was 3 hours and 8 minutes long.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah. Anywho, do you have any other notes that we can talk about here? Sweet Jesus.
Death has a new design. Stab neck. Sound behind. Ow, bad luck. You'll never take the fighter. Yeah, no, now I got nothing.
I did like the end. We talked about the singing mime, where it's like, hey, we beat death for 6 months. 6 months, everything's cool.
First of all,
6 months, everything's cool. We literally flew from Long Island to Paris. Everything's cool, but now we're here drinking cappuccinos, and now we're dropping dead.
Giving the finger to death. First of all, it's only been 6 months. You ready to hop back on that plane?
I'm never flying again.
Go to Paris? No.
Right.
Next time I go to Paris, it'll be on the Queen Elizabeth II, or I'll be looking at it on Netflix. Nah. Come on.
No. They must be out their damn mind. Is they crazy?
That's why kids are dumb, because they have no sense of anything. This is why it's a wonder that the human race doesn't perish, because teenagers are idiots.
Well, basically, but it's also, I guess we're supposed to think like you're never free, because then basically the cycle starts over again for these three people over and over. Because it was basically like, what was it? The bully's now his best friend and pushes him out of the way of the sign swinging by. Oh, thank goodness. But wait a minute, who's next? And it swings back, crunk. And that's the end of that dude. Credits. So it was good. I enjoyed it.
I was like, as soon as I saw like someone with a guitar in the back, I was like,
a mime. It was a mime, as they do.
I don't even know if this is true, but in my mind, he had a white face with like triangles and like little black tears, like it was baskets.
Was he doing air guitar, or did he actually have a guitar in his hands?
He may have had a ukulele, in my mind.
Oh, sweet.
He had a
was it Tiny Tim?
He had the striped shirt, and he was dressed like so, and it was a ukulele, and he was.
I think you're high. I don't believe any of that is true. But okay, that's neither here nor there.
Find a clip of it and send it to Crazy Uncle Kevin.
Do not. By the way, shall we go behind the scenes?
Please.
Okay.
Who decided it should be John Denver, because I want to send them a Christmas card?
Absolutely. The story was originally going to be an episode for the X-Files, which was inspired by another movie from 1984 called Soul Survivor. And in that, the movie...
Since the day, don't understand X-Files. X-Files was, before you could record, was don't miss effing TV. X-Files was amazing. We should go back.
Right, no question. So in this movie, Sole Survivor, a woman who's a sole survivor of a plane crash starts to be haunted by dead people that Death uses temporarily as vessels, trying to kill her to correct his plan and killing everyone who suspect about it. So it's not an original idea, clearly. Very upsetting.
That's awesome, though. But why can't Death just kill you outright? Why does it need a vessel?
You could have an aneurysm or something, right?
It happens.
Seriously. It happens every day. In the opening scene, Devon Sawa, who plays Alex, was supposed to pretend to be asleep, and he actually fell asleep for real for 4 hours. So there you go.
I do love a good nap.
The exterior of Ms. Luton's house was built in 5 days.
I'm a little slow processing. I had a beer after work. So he's on set for 4 hours, just snoring away. What's everybody else doing? Are they also napping?
No, because he was in the back of the plane pretending to be asleep while other things are happening. There's other things happening on the plane.
The scenes. And he's back there snortling away.
Snortling? Well, believe it or not, if you've ever been on an actual movie set, it's freaking boring. It is ridiculously boring because they're either setting up the shot for hours or they're doing the exact same scene over and over and over again for hours.
That's what
it is truly Final Destination. The exterior of Miss Luton's house was built in 5 days, and the residents of Vancouver didn't want the filmmakers to blow it up because they thought it was a nice house, even though not a house. Very upsetting.
Why do they have to
the shot.
The house? They can't just take it apart. Oh, because for the scene. See, I'm already.
They did not blow it up for fun. It's because in the course of the movie, the house blows up. They were just like, it's easier for us just to blow it up rather than take it down. Good times.
I've already lost. I stopped tracking what we were even discussing anymore.
Clearly. The shot of Alex's bedside clock at the beginning of the movie, which fades from 1 a.m. to 1:80, which was the name of the flight, took 5 days to get correct. Good Lord. Let's see. Much of the news footage shown is actual footage from the July 1996 explosion and crash of TWA Flight 800 off Long Island, New York. So an actual flight where the plane exploded and crashed. Good Lord. Yeah. Very upsetting. Let's see. We talked about that. The music played throughout the film was by John Denver, a musician who died in a plane crash a couple years before the film was made. So there you go. Alex's buddy, Todd, his name is spelled with 1 D instead of the traditional spelling of 2. In German, Todd with 1 D means death.
Dude, I have some Todd shoes. They're from Italy. So I'm wearing death shoes? Or maybe they're spelled with D's.
I think we know that. The original casting choices for Alex and Clear. By the way, Ali Larter's character in this movie, her name is Clear Waters. Why? I don't know why. Anyway.
Todd's TOD''S.
Yep. Let me see. So Alex and Claire, they originally wanted it to be played by Tobey Maguire, my old classmate, and Kirsten Dunst. But
Tobey
they did
Maguire,
not. They
who was
went
also
different
in
way.
Babylon as some kind of opium addict. He looks disturbing.
Okay. Okay. We talked about this briefly. Most characters in the film are named after filmmakers or stars from black and white horror films. Are you ready?
All right, lay it on me. Where's the list?
Terry Chaney was named after Lon Chaney. Todd Wagner, after director George Wagner.
So we're back to just throwing in a last name there?
Yes, that is correct. Alex Browning was named after Todd Browning.
One of us.
Absolutely. And Todd Browning spells his name Todd with 1 D. So there you go. It all comes together. Larry Murnau, after director F.W. Murnau, who directed Nosferatu.
Okay.
Agent Schreck, after Max Schreck, who starred in Nosferatu.
Yes.
Blake Dreyer, she's one of the hot girls who gets blown up. She has like 2 lines. Was named after Carl Theodor Dreyer, who directed Vampire in 1932.
All right.
Howard Siegel, after director Don Siegel, who directed Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Billy Hitchcock, after Alfred Hitchcock, and Valerie Luton, after horror film producer Val Luton.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So Val Luton, let me look that up really quickly. So Val Luton, what was he famous for? He is known for The Body Snatcher, Cat People, I Walked with a Zombie, and many others. So there you go.
All classics. And
All
I think he
classics.
was a director too.
I think you're absolutely right. Let's see. The original title was going to just be like Flight 180, which people decided not a good title. So let's change it to Final Destination, which makes a hell of a lot more sense. And is more interesting, I would say, to say the least. Good times.
I Walked with a Zombie and Isle of the Dead also, and The Curse of the Cat People. And
Curse of the Cat. So there was Cat People, and then there was Curse of the Cat People. So there was 2 different things. Shall we talk about the cast and crew?
First, that was 42. Curse of the Cat People was 44. And then there was Bedlam with Boris Karloff, 46.
There you go. Let's see. Director was James Wong.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know
He's got a lot of stuff that we like.
He directed episodes of The X-Files. He directed the movie The One. He directed episodes of Space Above and Beyond. Good stuff.
So am I wrong? Apparently he didn't do anything we like. Except for the X-Files.
I mean, if you like The X-Files. Let's talk about the cast.
Willard, the remake with Crispin Glover. How did you skip that?
Which one?
The remake. Willard, the remake.
Oh, I saw Willard, the remake.
Black Christmas, the remake.
Because I only look at their first 4 things on IMDb. I'm not scrolling through their entire filmography. What do I got? The show's already 3 hours long as it is, for goodness sake.
For sure. Okay. His pinnacle is Final Destination.
Okay, so Devon Sawa played Alex.
Crime Story.
There you go.
Good old Jackie Chan.
Good stuff.
All right.
Let's see. Devon Sawa played Alex, the main character. You know him from Final Destination, Idle Hands, Now and Then, Casper. Devon Sawa had a couple things there for a couple years. A couple things going on. Let me see who else we got. Ali Larder played Clear Rivers. You know her from, let's see, Final Destination, Legally Blonde, Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, something called Obsessed. She was in, I told you she was in Varsity Blues. She had a couple years there where she was doing stuff. Let's see. We've got Sean William Scott played Billy Hitchcock. And he's not the bully in this movie, shockingly enough. He was like the wimpiest hockey player you'd ever meet. You know him primarily from American Pie, American Pie 2. He was Stifler. He was in American Wedding. He played Bo Duke in the Dukes of Hazzard movie. All sorts of stuff going on there. Let's see. Tony Todd played Bloodworth, the mortician. Bloodworth. Absolutely. You know him from Candyman, The Man from Earth, which I'm not familiar with. He was in The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. He was in The Crow with Brandon Lee.
We got to put that on the list. I've never seen that.
Anybody else you want to know about? Kerr Smith played Carter the Bully. You know him from Final Destination. He was in 113 episodes of Dawson's Creek.
The Bully. Dawson's Creek.
He was in the 2009 remake of My Bloody Valentine and 26 episodes of Life Unexpected, which I'm not familiar with.
That is unexpected also. Yeah, we
absolutely
beyond the limit. The best part of
Let-
this is sometimes it's the cast, and sometimes it's the movie, and sometimes it's neither. This time the movie's solid. It's what they were born to do, and then they all disappeared.
It's what they were born to do. Absolutely. It's like
That's right.
Final Destination in reverse.
It's Final Destination Hollywood style.
Shall we talk about their rating? Are you ready?
New.
Final Destination currently is 35% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you know what the audience gave it?
A 99% fresh.
68% fresh.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Was this a different movie? I
Perhaps.
saw this when it came out, and I don't think I saw it again until this last weekend. And it's solid.
It's solid.
I don't know what's happening. The movies are not for me anymore, apparently. It's all lies. I used to be like right there. It was something I could go by. Now I don't trust it at all. Rotten Tomatoes, you're rotten.
No, we just can't trust people anymore. It's very upsetting.
Can't trust
Let's
anybody.
talk about the
36%? How many movies have we saw that are 36%? Oh my god, that are so boring. This was solid. This was bang. This was dynamite. It was fun. It was horrific. The thing, you'd be getting off that goddamn plane too if you saw what he saw.
I agree. Let's the top critics.
The
Are you
premise
ready?
that you're tricking death is foolishness, and that the death just can't just, hey, you're dead now. Tap. You know.
Well, and this was a discussion they had as to whether or not they should actually have like a death character that's out kind of getting them. And if you watch, there are moments where there is kind of a shadow passes over something, like right before they die.
I like that.
But that's as close as it gets.
That's probably for
right.
the best. It's a different movie otherwise.
It's a different movie otherwise, absolutely.
But the thing with death and dying is, you have your stages of death. And one of those stages is bargaining, right?
I don't know if those are the stages of death.
Acceptance, bargaining.
Anger. Yes. Is that, anger? Are they called the stages of death? I don't know if they're called the faces of death. I don't know if it's...
Faces of death is something else. What the hell is it called?
It's called something.
You son of a bitch. Start talking, I'll find it.
Okay, let me tell you what the top critics said about Final Destination. Ready? Roger Ebert. Smarter and more original than most dead teenager movies. 3 out of 4. Boom. So, 3 out of 4.
I'm apparently on the wrong kind of scroll over here. I'm restlessness, lack of breathing. This is not what I was looking for.
It's like, what? Right, no pulse. Yeah, brain damage. Yes, I'm very familiar with that. Let me see. Let me give you one more. Bob Thomas of the Associated Press said several cuts above the usual terror flick aimed at the teen dating crowds. That's also a positive review. A lot of people a lot of critics who you might trust feel that this is a good movie.
5 stages of grief.
Of grief, not of death.
Grieving, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. But it's also grief if you're dying. These are the things you go through.
You will definitely be sad about that.
There were denial. There were anger. There was some depression. They didn't really accept it, and they didn't do any bargaining. It was be like, come on, Jesus, help a brother out. I'm just a high school kid. Because there was all that. This would be a real shitty God if he, every time they turned around the plane, there was like a dude with like cerebral palsy.
Yes, there was a crying baby. There was a special needs dude who, might I add, he was so convinced that the plane was going to crash, but he didn't grab the baby, didn't grab the guy's wheelchair and wheel him off the plane. Those people still blew up in the flames. So nice work, Devon Sawa, wherever you are today.
May you burn in hell.
You burn. What is your rating for Final Destination?
Dude, I think it's solid. I think it's right up there with like a Bodies. It's fun. It's Bodies just slightly above it. It's just a little bit funnier. But it was just a fun movie. I would highly recommend this. I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 Whoppers rolling around.
Oh, damn. It took a dark turn there. Sweet Lord.
Yes, as the
Okay.
flame blows up.
I think it's fun. Look, we've said it before. It's not Shakespeare. Robert Frost did not write the first draft. We get it. We accept it. It's possible. I'm gonna give it 3.5. 3.5. John Denver's plane exploding over Monterey Bays.
You give it the same rating as the Penile Glen movie.
I love the Penile From Beyond. Good movie as well. Look, it's fun though. It is fun. It's not particularly gruesome. It's more of kind of a mood. I thought we talked about this. The teenagers' reactions are often ridiculous, but that is okay. Hey, like I said, not Shakespeare. So I would recommend it. I would say check it out. It's streaming. I think it's still streaming on HBO Max. So if you haven't seen it,
that's where I saw it, on HBO Max, not Tubi with the one fucking ad over and over and over and over and over.
Sweet Jesus. So thank you very much. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Go to our page on Facebook at the podcast that wouldn't die. Aaron, we're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. What's going on there?
Indeedly do. We're on the Ticker Talker. We are on the I'm like almost said the
Instagram.
We're on
Put down the drink.
We're on the Twit. We're on the this. We're on the that. We're not on Discord yet, Kevin. No. We're not on the Twitch.
We're not doing any of that stuff. However, if you do follow,
be on the Discord.
No thanks. If you follow us on Instagram, if you follow us on TikTok, twice a week we're posting the WTF videos. I do it for the movie that we're covering that week, and then just for fun because I enjoy doing it. I'm doing it for the Throwback Thursday video as well, and it's usually the most ridiculous scene of the movie. So absolutely. In some movies it's hard to do because some movies don't have a ridiculous scene. They're just that good. So there you have it. So check that out. Obviously, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, we're on YouTube. So you can watch us there as well. It's the exact same show, but if you watch us, you get to see our facial expressions, incredulous looks when Aaron says something. All sorts of good stuff. So
it's probably better you're off the queue on Death Scroll. So
that is true.
Lighten the day, lighten the mood. We're a breath of spring.
No question. You can also email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review us.
We ain't no bougie podcast.
For show. Aaron, tell us your personal social media stuff, for goodness sake.
Before we get into this, I just got to tell you, I already bought you a blonde mustache, and I am going to buy you the blonde wig that you use for your little meme on your what the F videos. And I think we need to do a real one. Instead of doing, I don't know, whoever the hell that homie is in your little meme, we're going to dress you up and you will be the meme yourself.
I don't know. We'll see.
When I was in the
we'll see. I say dress up.
A weird glue on blonde mustache.
The Tom Atkins mustache and blonde from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's what we're going for. I don't know about all that jibba jab, but give us your social media stuff.
My social media stuff is this. I am on Instagram. I am the Cult of Aaron. I am on Instagram. I am also Don't Feed the Pigeon. I am on Etsy. No, I'm not. I'm not on Etsy. I am on
Jesus Christ.
Artsy. And I am on First Dibs, Aaron Doherty in the Instagram's gallery. And coming up soon, at the end of April, I'll have some work at the Art Mix here in good old Bakersfield, California, at the Bakersfield Museum of Art. Boom.
Very nice. Next week, we'll be discussing the horror classic. I haven't seen it, so we're going to see if it's a
never seen
remake
it.
of the classic.
I hear it's not funny.
So we're going to find out. We're going to watch the remake of Evil Dead. So check that out. I looked it up. If you want to watch it for free, you can watch it on Pluto TV with ads.
Son of a.
If you want to pay full freight, you can do that. It's on Vudu, Amazon Prime, Apple Plus, whatever.
This
Check
is
that
the
out.
final destination. This is how death gets you. Watching Tubi and Pluto, where they only have one sponsor. So it's just they have to do 7-minute ads, so they just play the same ad over and over again.
So check that out. Send it again, to be clear, because Aaron and I had a miscommunication. This is the remake of Evil Dead that came out 10 years ago or whatever it is. We're not talking about Evil Dead Rises, which may be in theaters as we speak. So
Now,
just to be clear.
The one we're about to watch, which I'm probably going to watch as soon as we're done, not a Raimi.
He produced it. He did not direct it. He produced it. His hand is in it. His hand is in it. Creatively, he is involved, but he did not specifically direct it.
And the
So
new
it's
one?
kind of like the new Candyman. I don't think he directed either one of them. I think he's creatively involved as a producer, but he's not writing or directing either one.
He's writing checks and cashing checks. That's what I'm hearing.
That is correct. Yeah, he's writing his name on the check and then cashing it. That is correct. That's what he's doing.
He's making it out to cash.
Please
Will Ted Raimi still make a cameo?
One can only dream, right? Please.
So.
If there's a God in heaven,
our goal, spot the Raimi.
Spot him. No question. So send in any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions, and we may mention you on our show. So good times had by all. So thank you very much.
Hang on, Brother Bear.
Wait, go ahead.
Kids, Aaron hasn't gone to the movies a lot since COVID. I used to go all the time. So if there's like a new release that's out that's not on our radar, hit us up on the social media and tell us we want to go. I still want to go see Knock at the Cabin Door with the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's still, I'm not buying it for $20. I got screwed on that Cyrano de Bergerac. Thank you, HBO fucking Max. Now I own that piece of crap.
We're always looking for new stuff, is what Aaron's trying to say. So if you know something is right up our alley, it doesn't have to be a piece of crap. People think that we deliberately pick lousy movies. That is not what we try to do. For goodness sake.
We're honestly trying to watch movies that we enjoy.
Yes.
Because sometimes people write in and tell us to watch it, and we're like, "Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Let's do that." And then we're like, "Oh,
womp womp womp."
Dear.
Very upsetting.
What's wrong
so
with
thank you very much, and be well.
Be well, baby.